A 19-year-old sits in a conference room with the world's most experienced investors. She pitches them a medical machine that does not actually exist. Based entirely on her word, they value her company at $9 billion. That promise began in 2003. Elizabeth Holmes dropped out of Stanford University, telling professors she was done taking tests and ready to build a company. The pitch she developed was incredibly compelling. One drop of blood, that's all we need. She claimed a single painless finger prick could instantly detect conditions ranging from diabetes to cancer to HIV. She named the company Theranos. Wearing stark black turtlenecks and speaking in a notoriously deep baritone, Holmes carefully curated her public image to mirror tech legends. The press eagerly crowned her the female Steve Jobs. Investors poured in hundreds of millions of dollars. The technology sector was desperate for a charismatic founder who could disrupt healthcare, and they willingly ignored the complete lack of peer-reviewed scientific data because her narrative was exactly what they wanted to hear. To understand how this happened, you have to look at how capital moves in Silicon Valley. Billions of dollars flow rapidly toward founders who project absolute confidence and promise massive disruption. The first major checks came from established tech billionaires. Larry Ellison, the ultra-wealthy co-founder of the software giant Oracle, invested heavily in Theranos before the company even had a working prototype. Once the initial tech money was secured, Holmes expanded her reach. Global media moguls like Rupert Murdoch invested hundreds of millions, validating the company's financial momentum. But Holmes needed institutional legitimacy. She constructed a board of directors out of political titans, recruiting former U.S. Secretaries of State Henry Kissinger and George Shultz. She even brought on four-star General James Mattis. These were highly disciplined strategic leaders, yet they lent their names and reputations to the startup and completely failed to audit the actual science. Real medical technology requires rigorous, independent scientific testing. Holmes bypassed that requirement entirely. By accumulating a shield of elite enablers, she successfully replaced objective proof with the illusion of authority. Away from the TED stages and the famous board members, the private engineering labs told a completely different story. This diagram illustrates the Edison, the proprietary blood testing device Theranos claimed could run hundreds of rapid tests. The reality was that the Edison could barely run a dozen tests reliably, and its accuracy rates were abysmal. The technology was failing night after night. To keep the company alive, management ordered a cover-up. When actual patient blood samples arrived, technicians secretly carried them down to the basement. They ran the blood through standard, bulky commercial machines, the exact equipment Theranos claimed to be replacing. Employees were then instructed to manually type the results from those commercial machines into the Theranos computer system. They actively passed off third-party data as their own invention. Knowing the machines did not work, Holmes still aggressively expanded. She signed massive contracts to install Theranos testing centers inside standard retail pharmacies like Walgreens and Safeway. Real patients began receiving life-altering, completely fictional medical diagnoses. This shift transformed the corporate fraud into a severe public health threat, as people made critical health decisions based on manufactured data. In 2015, the facade cracked. John Carreyrou, an investigative reporter for the Wall Street Journal, noticed the glaring lack of peer-reviewed data and began tracking down former Theranos scientists. Tyler Shultz, a former employee and the grandson of board member George Shultz, took a massive personal risk. He leaked internal emails and state testing data to the press, providing undeniable proof that the company was fabricating its accuracy rates. Holmes fought back aggressively. She deployed teams of high-powered lawyers to enforce NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, which are strict legal contracts forbidding employees from discussing company secrets. She used them to intimidate witnesses and tried to kill the story. The tactics failed, and the Wall Street Journal published the exposé. The fallout was immediate. Walgreens and Safeway terminated their partnerships. The $9 billion valuation evaporated, and the company's stock plummeted to zero. The federal government intervened. Prosecutors indicted Holmes and her chief operating officer, Sunny Balwani, charging them with orchestrating a nearly $1 billion wire fraud scheme. During her 2021 trial, Holmes took the stand. She remained completely calm and unrepentant, claiming she genuinely believed her own inflated projections. The jury reviewed the hard evidence, rejected her defense, and found her guilty on 4 felony counts. In late 2022, the judge delivered the final sentence. Holmes was ordered to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in restitution, a court-ordered financial compensation to the investors she defrauded, and she reported to a Texas prison to serve 11 years and 3 months. The Theranos collapse forced a permanent correction in how venture capital evaluates medical startups. Due diligence, the comprehensive appraisal of a business undertaken before an investment, is now applied with intense skepticism. Silicon Valley learned the hard way that when human lives are involved, charisma and an elite board of directors mean nothing without objective, verifiable truth.